Alright, gonna keep this to one-part video. Anyway, lots of little subjects, which is sort of annoying. Anyway, so there's this guy. I don't know. I'll post a link. Too sexy for you or something. Whatever. So yeah, he's asked a few questions, commented on a few different subjects, which isn't really great. I mean, doing one video with a whole bunch of stuff in it, it's kind of as irritating as commenters. But anyway, I mean, you really have to give each subject enough time. So anyway, I'll hit the fractional reserve banking thing first, just because that's a subject where all these Ron Paul nuts and all the rest of these idiots with the gold standard and all that crap, they jump on this term. All banking is fractional reserve banking. You don't have a bank if you don't do fractional reserve banking. And if you don't, if you find out some way to have, just think of it. I mean, if people deposit money and you loan some of the money out, obviously all the depositors, if they showed up one day and said, give me back all my money, you can't give them all back their money, because some of the money is out there, okay, where some guy's going to pay it back over time. So you can't give them back all their money. And if you create some separate account of money, some pile of money that you don't loan out, that just exists in case the depositors show up, well, then you'll have to pay double interest, because the person who's going to have that extra money sitting there is going to say, give me interest on it. I'm not going to let you have money without you giving me interest. So if the bank itself took some of its profits and put them into its own bank, they're going to expect to make money on that money, because they know that they could have just put that money in some other bank and gotten interest. So why would they put it in their own bank if they're not going to get paid extra for it? So there's just no way to have banking without fractional reserve banking. The question is what should the reserve limits be? And that one becomes completely irrelevant, in my opinion, when you have FDIC insurance. When the government's insuring the deposits, who cares what the reserve limits are? Burn it all. Loan every dollar that's in the bank. Get the most value out of it. Let it work in the world. Let it do something besides just sit in a vault somewhere doing nothing. So no investment capital, no investment potential should ever be just sitting in a vault somewhere. That's ludicrous. So anyway, it's just a stupid argument. It just really is friggin' stupid to have to go over and over this crap. And I'm surprised that Nick the Meyer Mystic is almost talking like there should be some sort of gold standard. But there's just no banking on a gold standard. Anyway, enough said. Stupid. So anyway. Alright, now these other little subjects. Okay, so he brought up on the subject of our consciousness, and he sort of talked about some phantasmagorical stuff, like, okay, well, cats can find their way home, across the country, and homing pigeons, it's a magical brain. And it's not. I mean, they've done, they dissected the things. They found out there's little mechanisms in their brain, they got extra iron in their brain, so they essentially have a compass built into their brain. They might have a whole map built into their brain. So, yeah, their brain is focused on different stuff than ours. It's like a bat sonar or something. It's not magical. Once you understand it, once you dissect it. And then he even he made some twins argument. Like there's some twin study somewhere where, you have two twins like 5 miles away from each other, and you poke one with a pin and the other one goes, ouch. Never happened. Bullshit. Complete bullshit. Pulled out of his ass bullshit. So yeah, you're not going to get any points with me with that kind of crap. If you're going to say something that extraordinary, you're going to make an extraordinary claim like that, well, then you better post some links or do something else to validate it, because that's just crap. Complete freaking crap. Alright, the guy is really kind of patronizing and arrogant. Doesn't exactly have a charming personality. Not that I should be complaining, but, sort of irritated me a bit. But anyway, we'll see where it goes. Don't hurt to have somebody else to argue with. Alright, so then we get into this idea of how our memes are evolving, and whether there's any what's doing the selecting, the controlling factors, or whatever we want to discuss. And the bottom line is over time, I think rationality is going to win out, because even people who are born, most people are going to be born to ignorance. That's the ignorant have kids, and they have too many kids, and so their psychologies are going to be a little bit ignorant by nature. I mean, that's the tendency. That's their genetics are not going to have any subtle influences And if there are subtle influences in the genetics, they're going to be negative subtle influences, which is recklessness, stupidity, dumb. I mean, it's just the fact of it. Just follow the leader kind of people. I'll do what my parents did kind of people. But the bottom line is the brain is a reasoning machine, and you're not going to get through your life. You're not likely to survive if you're too much of an idiot. You have to be able to figure out how to navigate your world. So you have to do some rational thinking to be successful in life, and be successful enough to feed your kids even. So there is over time a tendency towards rationality, and eventually, if the human race were to survive in the future, the tendency would be that more and more people would become more and more. The persuasive arguments would be written. We'd get over the stupidity. Like we've gotten over a ton of really ignorant, dumb notions, slavery, the whole women's rights things, a lot of stuff that we've gotten way past and grown up and realized. So the tendency is towards rationality. And this brings up the other guy, the reason guy. Post a link again. He sort of talked about the limitations on intelligence, and somehow we're never going to be able to get through to people. And I really don't think it's that complex. I mean, it's like the Einstein example. He could say something like E equals mc squared, and you do a lot of math. But if you just draw that picture of a fabric, and you drop some weights on it, and people can see the dimpling of the space, and get the idea that if you roll a marble, it's going to curve and bend through those dimples, you can make it understandable. And so there's a way of drawing a picture, a mental picture even, explaining this philosophy, getting the idea of the maze, and getting people to think about, oh yeah, I'm in the maze, I'm driven by my desire, I'm too focused on the cheese, and if I stop, and I just use my brain, I start looking around, where am I exactly, what am I doing, why am I doing it? That's philosophy, that's the opportunity we have, is just to get people to stop, think, have to make it all rationally add up. Because they're so caught up in the game, they don't even stop for a minute. They spend look, stars, cute, oh, sparkly, okay, and then they're back to, they don't give the world a chance to be understood, because they're just so caught up in just their own mechanisms, their own psychology owns them so completely that they just don't stop and think. And if we just do that part, and then I think there's a progression of ideas. If you spell it out for them in the right order, here's step thought, understanding A and understanding B, these little ideas, if you build them up incrementally, you can get them to the promised land. All right, you can go through algebra, then geometry, then trigonometry, then calculus, and then whatever, quantum mechanics. I mean, you can lead them to a place where they can do the more complex philosophy. And it's not even that complex. Like I said, it might be complex to construct it the first time, but once you understand it, then you can just make a model of it, make it simpler so people can understand it. So I think there is hope to persuade the human race, but we'll have to, thinking there's hope doesn't mean much. We'll have to see what happens. Alright, anything else I have to get to? Let me understand. Oh yeah, the vegetarian thing real quick. The guy was just making some kind of snarky comment about, I eat pigs, and pigs, blah, blah. And he was saying something stupid, like pigs are just, lying around, having a great life, and they eat whenever they want to, and the average pig farm is just paradise. It's a pile of crap. Pigs, the majority of the pigs farmed for your consumption live horrible lives. And the bottom line is that it's very socially unproductive, all right? Because the waste that goes into the production of the feed for animals, and then on top of that, like I said, just the extra suffering, the horrible lives they live. It's not about life and death. It's about perpetuating a misery, creating life just so you can make it miserable. And we're sort of doing that to some wild animals now, like we harvest, 200,000 seals, and so seals would be better off extinct than to exist as a harvested organism, because their lifespans have been substantially reduced and the quality of their life is rather dismal, in that anything close to them is going to get slaughtered right before their eyes. So it's not a good thing, and it's not laughable either. So you get no points with me when you ha 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 about being an asshole. So if you just don't get it, that the future doesn't need your vices, it doesn't need your addiction. Human beings do not need to eat cows and pigs and all this stuff. They can eat something stupider and dumber if they must eat meat, but they can certainly live a vegetarian lifestyle. And there's no reason to breed them to be any other way. No rational reason, but to justify your own bad habits, your own addictions, your own gluttony. So, no points for that one, fella. And I'm out of time, so till next time.